Hi, I'm Nid, your wellness consultant and wellnesspreneur myself, having been online for a few years, and I've been sharing some business tips about taking your business online. So I did a video on insurance questions that you want to get the information from your insurer when you're going online. And I've had a couple of people asking me about how to actually speak to their insurer, because they're worried about the insurer just upping the premiums and making it a lot more expensive for them to do their business. One of the key things that we want to think about when it comes to all of our compliance legally things is the fact that they're still relationships. So just because it's a business relationship doesn't change the fact that we are all interacting together and we need to work together in order to come out with the best result. And one of the most foundational tips around negotiation skills and getting what you want and working with people is the first point of listening. So even when it comes to wanting to find out information from an insurance company, which sounds all very robotic and as though you're going in with a load of action points, the key thing to begin is to actually go in with the approach of being inquisitive. So you want to know what your plan is, what paperwork you've got together already, and what your insurance already covers you for, so that you have an idea of some of the questions that were laid out in the previous video, and there's a link below, to just know kind of what you've mapped out as your key concerns when you speak to the insurers. But the key is not to go in saying, I plan on doing the following thing, how are you going to help me? Are you going to add it onto my insurance and not charge me anymore? But what you want to do is just ask them, if I was to plan to do this with my business, what would you need to know from me? What kind of information do I need to provide you? So that you start to get a sense of what it is that they're looking for in terms of the risk profile. Because what insurers are mostly concerned about is how they can manage their risk profile and how much of a risk you are and what your activities are in the grand scheme of the rest of their portfolio of risk. So they're going to want to know some things from you as part of that. So you would give them a call and just say, I'm thinking of going online with my business. Am I covered for that? And they might say to you, what are you going to do with your business? And you say, well, I was thinking of doing some live classes. Is that okay? And then you could just kind of, I'm thinking of doing some live classes. How would you sell that? What paperwork might you do? Well, you say, I don't know what paperwork is there that you require that I have. And they may say they require something, or they may not. They may tell you to go get some legal advice in order to find out what paperwork you should have as part of limiting that risk. And that may be where you need some waivers or disclaimers to go alongside what the insurer is asking. They may ask you what countries or where you're going to go. And if they don't, you can say, well, what countries, where can I take my business online? I've just been practicing in my local neighborhood. Where am I permitted to take my business online? And then they may tell you some geographical restrictions. And if you're planning on going into those geographical locations where they've told you you're not permitted to go, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a complete no. What you're then going to start to ask them is, well, if I was to go into that area, what do I need to do and what information would you need to have in order for me to get coverage? And then they can start to find out and inform you about what detail they're going to need from you about your business plan. And it might be that if there's a geographic territory they're concerned about you working with online because it's probably quite a high litigation profile, then they may say to you, okay, so you can have this percentage of revenue and this percentage of your database in that territory as part of your whole business picture. And that's the kind of the limit of the risk that they're willing to take for your profile. And then, you might say to them, okay, that's really good. How can I go about adding that? And they may say at that point, they need to go back to the underwriter to find out if there's an additional premium. And that's quite likely. Now, it's at your risk if you were to choose to continue without paying the additional premium and go and offer your services in a territory where you're uninsured. So one of the questions I got asked was, well, I've put in my terms and conditions that I'm a New South Wales practitioner. It's very clear that I'm based here and they're choosing to come to my services in my country. So surely they, if they want to sue me, they're just going to have to come after me in my country. And the key thing that we want to think about when it comes to litigation is that's not necessarily the case. Often where someone suffers harm is where they're going to sue. And the courts have a specific term called jurisdiction, where they may sit and argue about which court has the jurisdiction to hear the case. And that just means which court has the right to sit and listen to the case. And if it was considered that it was where the person suffered the harm, which would be your client sitting in that other country in their home, then they may say that that's the court which will hear the case. And then you have to incur the cost of defending that case in that foreign country and finding a foreign lawyer and potentially the costs of travel. And that's not going to be cheap. And that's what the insurer is concerned about covering you for. And so if you don't have that insurance, that's what you're going to be paying for out of your back pocket. So that's a choice. And obviously, if you chose to go outside of your insurance, then you want to be really taking care of those clients and really making sure that they are not going to be unhappy at any level and are going to be really content with everything that you do. So you're reducing that risk. I'm not recommending at all that you do any business without your insurer, but I am fully aware that there are people out there who are willing to take that chance. And I'm just trying to highlight where part of the problem is. The other part that can come up with that approach of saying that my contract says that it's in my home country and the client is in a different territory, and they've signed and agreed to that, is whether or not the court could also say that because you have marketed and sold into that country, that their laws apply. And so they may decide to apply a foreign law to your terms and conditions, and therefore may decide to change some of your terms and conditions and deem them either void or in some way changed. And that would then mean that even your terms and conditions aren't really going to be helping and protecting you. And that in particular could come up with limitation or exclusion of liability clauses, and any disclaimer or waiver that you've had the client sign could suddenly be considered void under that local country's laws. And therefore any of your paperwork has become redundant. And there is always that risk with any of our paperwork that a court could decide that we've gone beyond what is fair and reasonable in the circumstances. But the danger with not knowing all of these foreign laws is that you don't know if you're going to fall foul. So it is best practice, if you can, to have that insurance to help you with fighting those kind of potential issues. Hopefully it's not going to happen to you, and hopefully this is all just horrible, scary, theoretical talk. But that's why it's important to talk to your insurer, and it's also why your insurer may ask for that additional premium. But do approach your insurer with that inquisitive mind, curious, make it a collaboration. How is your insurer going to help you to be your best business, to grow your business, and to offer the best services to everyone? Really, your insurer will be willing to work with you, if they're a good insurer at least as well, but they will be willing to work with you because they want to keep you as a client of their own. And so you want to really take the approach that they are going to help you solve your query and that they will find a solution. You just need to keep asking. If you do get an insurer who point blank says no, and there are definitely some of those insurers out there, then go to another and find someone who will work with you. It's worth shopping around and taking the time to find an insurer that you can really work with and that is going to work with your business model going forwards. Let me know any questions. Happy to go through some more of those tactics and specific questions to ask insurers. But in the meantime, good luck with growing your business and shining your bright lights to help others in the world. Thank you.